Hey everybody, Erek here. Thank you for tuning in today, and I am super stoked because we're talking about the Steam Deck. I love my Steam Deck. I made a video a few weeks ago on 5 great games that you should check out. Today we're doing some indie titles perhaps you may not have even heard about. I'm really thrilled to showcase these games today because they're really great and really cool. Not only that, I've also brought on a special guest for today's video. So let's check it out. Straight out of the Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1 era is Lunestus. I say that because I love these low poly looking games. It's such a vibe. This is a really cool, almost Sonic inspired game where the short and sweet of it is to get from point A to point B, and while doing so, you're treated to levels full of like an almost dreamlike charm, as in scattered randomly with no real symmetry. While you're running from start to finish, in each stage are different paths you can take and different collectibles to find. It's worth replaying each stage to really uncover everything. Plus, it's just fun to play these levels again and again anyway. There are enemies you can jump over or hit, stage hazards to avoid, and tricky platforming involved as well, so it will definitely keep you on the edge of your seat while you're playing. The soundtrack is very catchy with use of instruments here, focusing mainly on piano and drums with other synth-based sounds to help fill in texturally. It almost feels composed in a way to keep the player running, which is a really great driving force behind the gameplay. I mean, look at the 4th level, for example. The stage changes with quarter note cues given by the music. Really clever and not something you see done in many video games. Not only is Lunestus fun, but it's a real joy to play with tight and refined controls, leaving no barrier between you and the game. So if you like 3D platformers, games that are fun, games that have amazing soundtracks, there's no reason to not play this. Now get running. If you like tactics games like Fire Emblem or Advanced Wars, you'll be right at home here with Wargroove. Wargroove plays like any standard tactics games with small groups attacking each other per turn, capturing enemy forces, hiring other friends to help you fight. I mean, you get the idea. I always found this style of game really addictive, and Wargroove does a really great job with catchy music, funny and well-written dialogue, and a really beautiful coat of pixel paint with the visual aesthetic. One standout feature of Wargroove is actually the sound design. I've been playing all these games that I'm reviewing in this video today over headphones, and I just really love the audio cues coupled with all the sound effects that go along with the tides of war. I've really only just started to scratch the surface with this game, but I love tactic style games, and Wargroove is really doing a great job so far in my playthrough. I just like that you can pick up and play each mission at a time, not really have to worry about losing track of where you are with the story, which is of course kind of secondary to the really well balanced gameplay. The only downside I'd say are the battles can go on for a little bit, but I personally don't mind, but just be prepared of course to set aside a little bit of time for some levels. I really like this game so far. Check it out. Oh man, do we have a good one here. Slipstream. Slipstream is so good. I love everything about this game. The overall vibe is like arcadey Sega, and the music is 80s synthwave, and on first impression the gameplay reminded me of Rad Racer on the NES with an outrun twist. There's a few different modes you can choose from, like Single Racer, Grand Tour, Cannonball, and Battle Royale mode, but I personally like Grand Tour the most. Here you race through a series of 5 different levels and challenge rival racers. You have the option of taking different routes and checking out different levels in an outrun style by opting to take either the left or the right exit once you finish each level. As fast-paced as Slipstream can be, it's almost incredibly relaxing and ambient, I dare say, with the fast-moving levels packaged with the synthwave soundtrack. And yeah, the music almost feels like the main character here, and everything else is just an added bonus. I mean that. Props to the composer in this game for absolutely nailing it. I rarely say this, but I need this soundtrack on vinyl. It is incredible. Of course, on Steam Deck, it controls really well. I mean, well enough to completely engross you in every race. Between the seamless transitions and levels, wow, by the way, really cool. The amazing soundtrack, 80s vibes, and fun racing feel, Slipstream is the complete pick up and play package. And it's cheap too. Go ahead and get it. With the next game is my great friend James from YouTube channel D-Reviewting. Take it away, James.
So next up on the list we have Rad Rogers. Now this game is short but a fun experience on the Steam Deck. Rad Rogers is brought to you by Handy Games and published by Slipgate Studios. Bringing in the Tude from the 90s, you play as Rad Rogers, a kid who falls asleep after playing too many video games. Like there's such a thing. Rad gets sucked into a CRT and transported into a glitchy world with his trusty console, Dusty, who helps you along the way whilst being strapped to your back. Rad Rogers is a side-scrolling platformer that occasionally takes a detour to top-down puzzle solving. Dusty is your partner in crime in this game, and there to guide you through the levels and giving you advice, helping you fix some of the glitches that are also in the game. Here and there, you may also find yourself trying to reach areas where everything's begun to pixelate. Well, don't stress out. These are portals to short 8-bit style sections where Dusty will explore a top-down vortex and find platforms that need punching back into the correct resolution. The humor in this game is great. It's very similar to titles such as Conker's Bad Fur Day and Bubsy, with a whole bunch of one-liners, although you can change this at the beginning of the game to be a little bit less crude. Rad Rogers isn't groundbreaking by any means and would have fitted well in the 90s DOS style of games. It plays heavy on nostalgia, but is an absolute blast to play, whether you have a few minutes or a few hours to spare. This game is well worth playing on your Steam Deck, so check it out.
Next up is Little Golf Journey. There's not many games that I would play to relax, per se, but this one is definitely right for cutting out the chaos of a busy life like mine. When you first boot up the game, you're given a brief tutorial on how to play and to use the camera to your advantage. The isometric style coupled with the gorgeous visuals make it really easy to see where you're aiming the ball. You progress through the game using a world map styled golf course, which is really clever. The gameplay isn't too far off from like every other golf game out there, but I just love the amount of control you have, and in conjunction with the dual analog sticks on deck, it's effortless to get the ball where you want it to go. You do have limited shots in which you're given to complete the course, so just make sure to use the camera to find alternate paths or perhaps quicker ways to find the hole. As with most of these games on the list, I just think the music is really standout, which is kind of ironic considering it's quiet background music, but I just think it's peaceful and serene and a really great way to keep you focused on the green. That rhymed, I did not mean that. If you like golf games or puzzle games and don't mind playing something that doesn't have a ton of substance to it, definitely recommend checking out Little Golf Journey. So there you go, a couple more games for your Steam Deck. I hope that you learned something new, maybe found a new title to go play. And the best part is that most of these games are really cheap, and the Steam Deck makes it really affordable to game. I mean, aside from paying for the Steam Deck as well. Not only that, there are millions of choices of games on the Steam Marketplace or the Steam Store, whatever you want to call it. No matter what you like, whether it's JRPGs, puzzle games, racing games, platformers, there's going to be something out there for you. So I hope that you learned something new. I hope you may have found a new title to check out. Maybe you might go buy it. I don't know. Let me know. And let me know as well if there's any games that you're playing on your Steam Deck that you might recommend to me. Otherwise, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you again on the next video. Thanks for watching.